Okay, for this 7th video for my software recipes, I'm going to take you through making a background, in this case a star background, which is then going to cycle round with the arrow keys. The process of doing this is actually quite straightforward, so we're going to continue on with our space game, which you'd produce in recipe 6. First thing I'm going to do is, under Solution Explorer, I'm now going to create a new form. So add Windows form, and this form I'm going to call FRM menu, as in form menu. This is actually going to be a placeholder program, so let's give the properties on this the text space game, as I haven't got a real name for it yet, main menu. I'm also going to set my start position, as always, to the center screen for neatness, and on this one I'm going to add a couple of buttons. Button 1 I'm going to rename BN Start and change the text to Start Game. And button 2 is simply going to be BN Exit, and it's going to close the program down. So what I'm going to do now is shorten the form. I don't really want these 3 boxes here, so I'm going to remove those as well, and the way I can do that is go to control box and change it to false. Another item that I'm going to do is turn off show in taskbar, because I don't want this to appear down at the bottom of the screen. Let's neaten this up a bit further now we've removed all the bars and menu boxes. So my exit, I'm just going to double click on the button so it brings it up into the code. And I'm going to make the note that this closes the application, and to close it, it's as simple as saying I want to application.exit. To start the game, I'm going to need to have another form, which is going to be my main game form. So I add Windows form, FRM game. If I go back to my menu, I can now create an instance of FRM game in memory and then show it on the screen. Now of course I need to load up my menu after my title sequence that I produced in recipe 6. So how am I going to do that? Well, there at the end, if counter images length -1, this is the point where the timer finished because it got to the end of the animation. So now instead of just doing time 1 enabled equals false, I'm now going to show a new copy of the menu. Hold on. The next thing we need to do is show the menu. So that when the animation finishes, the main menu comes back up. Now at the moment, on the form1_click, which is when you click the form, we close the application down. We don't want that to happen anymore, so we're going to take our code that we've got here, and we're going to paste it in. We also want to move the screen to the very last screen as well. So what we're going to do, I'm going to copy and paste images.length, because I'm going to set this .background image equals images to the last image in the list when you click the form. So now what should happen when we run the program is you see the menu, and up comes the main menu. Start or exit. In this case we're going to exit because we're going to carry on writing our code. Now once the menu has been created, we've got our game screen here. I'm going to now make some changes to my FRM game. So, as standard, set it in the centre. But this time I'm going to get rid of the edge of the form. Now we do this using form border style. So we set that to none. I'm going to set false to show in taskbar. And the size now I'm going to set as my standard 640 by 480. Save that. Now for my background on my space game, I've pre-prepared a graphic that I've made 640 by 480 in size. It's an existing item and it's just a picture currently on my desktop called Star Background. So to make sure that we include it in our project, again, properties, copy if newer, so it gets copied with the program file like we did with the animation. And now we're going to make some changes to this FRM game form to actually create a background that we can scroll around. So first thing I'm going to go to is my form 1, because I'm going to copy the screen flicker code a second time. Copy that, because that is going to be an important part of my game code as well. Now for this background image I'm going to make it 10 screens across by 10 screens down, so it's 100 screens in size. This is quite big. I'm going to use the background I've created for one image to actually create it for all 100 by 100 screens, or 10 by 10 screens, sorry. So the first thing I'm going to do is create a series of global variables such as the background, the graphics object, and whereabouts we are currently going to scroll in that background. So how do I set up the background? Well, I'm going to draw first of all my star background. I'm going to copy it 10 times across by 10 times down. So I'm going to create my big background by copying that same image 10 times. So how am I going to do that? Well, simply I've got to first of all allow myself to draw on my background image. So I set up a graphics object that says I can draw on the background. That's all that first line does. I'm then going to have to go around 2 loops. First of all, I'm going to do each row of the system, each row of the graphic, and then after each row has been completed I'm going to draw the next row down. So my internal loop is for the row, and inside here I'm going to draw the image. Now the position where I'm going to draw the image is, I haven't got a name for the object yet, wherever the counter X is, I'm going to have my initial graphic, and my initial graphic is going to be, it's called star background on mine, so that I can draw my initial image, my temp image, and I can draw it in the right locations on this new background image. I then move on to the next item in the row. When I get to the end of the row, I move on to the next row. And that's the background set up. Now the next thing to do is obviously draw the background, so again going back onto the form, hit the lightning bolt, find where it says paint, and to draw the object, I'm going to draw a section of the background. At position 0, 0, and the section that I'm going to draw is a rectangle that starts the background offset of size 640 by 480. I now need to tell the computer that I'm doing it in pixels. So what this will now do is draw simply the top 640 by 480 of my map. So we start the game, and there's the 640 by 480 top of my map that's currently drawn. At the moment you can't move around it or anything like that, and it only takes up a small part of the screen, but in the next video we're going to start scrolling around it.